So recently, I asked you guys on the YouTube community tab to 1v1 me, and we had a lot of people show up over on the gameleap Discord. I went into a chat, 1v1 random members who were on at the time, and that is this video. I'm going to be talking about what they did to either beat me or lose to me. Obviously, I'm not going to let you know the results right now. You're going to have to see for yourself, but last episode I did this. Your boy Speed was undefeated, so people are coming for vengeance. But all things aside, if you want to see more 1v1 videos just like this one, please like the video. This takes me basically more time than any other video. It's a good time, but right, I have to play the games and I have to record over all of them. So if you want to see content like this, please like the video so I know that you do. Otherwise, frankly, I don't know if I'll do it again. Hopefully all of you guys have been watching the recent tournament or the qualifiers for the upcoming tournament that is going to be in Los Angeles, if I'm not mistaken, in America, where I live. Let's go, baby. I unfortunately am not going, but I am watching the tournament and following the qualifiers, and over on the main gameleap website, I've just made an analysis for OG versus Bulgaria. If you don't know who Bulgaria is, that's fine, because they're like a 2K stack. However, I just analyzed their game and see what OG did well and what the enemy team did bad, and I plan to do more of these in the future, so if you're interested, click the link down below, and you're going to get a lot of great content over there, and especially these qualifier matches that I'll be analyzing. So I'll see you there. Alright, so I don't have the ranks of every single player, but I'll try to give you the gist if I do remember it. This player was Divine 2. I played Magnus against Monkey King, and for the most part, this video will be mirror matchups, but this one in particular, I challenged people within a previous video to play the Monkey King versus Magnus matchup, so here we are. First things first, my idea going into this matchup is just to abuse my high base damage and the ability to push in the wave to kind of take advantage of the low armor of Monkey King, which is why you're going to see me immediately auto-attack the creep wave here. This is my idea going to this wave. Monkey King is low HP, right? Low armor, and I want to punish this by pushing in the wave as fast as possible. I want to pause here because I want to show this is when Monkey King should have hit me. My eye currently is on this range creep. I even let go of this melee creep just to secure this, right? Because this, I don't want to allow him to get a range creep deny this early. I should be getting hit this early, right? The Monkey King should hit me right now, right? There's no excuse. Look what instead she does on the Monkey King. That is not a good play. You have to stay up and hit during that duration where someone is focused on a range creep, especially if you're Monkey King. That is the biggest gap you're going to get in the landing stage. And now, because I shoved the wave in, I can play under tower, right? Right, she can hit me here and there, but it's not good enough. It really isn't good enough to be able to pressure me out because it's under tower. And if she goes too hard, right, she's going to lose way too many creeps. So she has to choose between one or the other, and that's just a big gap. And that's why I want to push in the wave, and you're going to see that as a common trend throughout this entire laning stage. In fact, I get 3 denies this early on, and it's the main reason, in my opinion, why I'm able to actually win the lane. I hit my levels before the Monkey King does, and if you're playing Magnus and you don't get off to a good start, your lane is going to be a disaster, right? So I get off to a good start, I shove in the wave pretty well, I'm last hitting well, and yeah, that's the key to this matchup. A lot of creep aggro and shoving in the wave, in my opinion. So yeah, if we look at the lane now, I'm level 5 in like 3/4, as the Monkey King is 2, and that just goes to show how drastic this is. Really good timing here. I think I played this exceptionally well. My ability to just get the denies under the tower here. And 18 and 9 at 447 is pretty good, right? I did sacrifice quite a bit of CS just to get these denies and play the lane, but even here, you're gonna notice I'm just trying to push the lane and harass the Monkey King with the power cleave. Yes, this is your harass tool as Magnus when you don't like have a maxed out Q, right? You're gonna be using your cleave to harass the Monkey King, and it adds up. Every single one of these attacks is like 40, 50 damage just through the cleave, and it's very impressive and underrated when people are playing Magnus, just trying to harass people with the cleave. And now coming up here, in my opinion, the only time you really can kill the Monkey King, besides getting a skewer under tower, is if you hit 6 quite early, especially when you're at a level advantage and the Monkey King is low. So I see him use this whatever form, I don't even know what it's called, and I see this as a time to go, right? Because he can't avoid any right clicks. Also, I went on the range creep, right? I fake secured the range creep to sort of bait him out a little bit. I probably should have turned with my RP, right? Skewered around, didn't do it, but then I auto attack, skewer with the slow, boots advantage, secure the kill. And yeah, that's why matchups like this are possible. It's the same thing as like TA Huskar. If you're good enough, you can actually win. I know it sounds insane, but like that's why if you're trying to gain MMR as a mid laner, you need to learn how to crush matchups, even if they're extremely unfavorable, like a matchup like this. And just to skip ahead here, I want to show my obviously second kill attempt. I have my treads, I have a bracer. I feel like I can basically solo kill the Monkey King. Once again, I'm harassing him with the cleave. It's doing 97 damage per cleave attack, which is very impressive. And now you're going to see my second kill attempt here. I actually make a big mistake, and I'll talk about it. But essentially, when you cast RP, I just want to point this out. When you cast RP, if you click behind yourself, like right click behind yourself to move backwards as you cast RP, it will actually turn them around, right? It will turn them around and put the hero that you RP in front of you, right? So you can bring them all the way to the back and then skewer them under tower. So right here, as I have it paused, with my shockwave, I could have brought him in, turn RP'd, skewered him under tower, free kill, but I didn't do that. I like tried to get in a bunch of auto attacks, then I just skewered not far enough, right? It didn't bring him under tower, and I didn't get the kill because of that. 2 tower shots easily would have finished this one off, so just a big mistake by me, which is why you have to spam heroes so you don't make mistakes like this. Regardless, I was fine with that harass. After all, it is a 1v1, so, I mean, that much damage is going to force out another salve. Like, at this point, I'm just trying to really poke and prod. As I said, I think this player's main weakness is that they didn't get off enough, like, sneaky right clicks. Like, when you're playing this matchup, you really need to be able to sneak right clicks in when Magnus is going for last hits, and I don't feel like this player did that much at all, and that's the reason why I was able to dominate it so handedly. And yeah, now this is a bit goofy, but I was chasing the player out of the tower. And then finally, to end it off, I'll show you the final kill. I was just chasing the Monkey King under the tower. Honestly, I wasn't even sure if this was favorable. I popped my salve so that I'm max HP. And then, yeah, I just killed the tower. So joke's on you guys. I didn't even actually kill the Monkey King twice. Frankly, I don't know if I would have been able to. I would have had to wait for the next RP at the least. And yeah, that's going to be all for the first game. All right, next up, we have an SF 1v1. And all I have to say is sorry about the Discord overlay. I didn't realize that I was recording display capture, so this is going to be in it for the rest of the clips. I apologize now. Hopefully it's not too distracting. I recommend you focus on the general gameplay. But yeah, let's get into it. First off, we're playing SF versus SF, and the main thing I remember about this matchup is I last hit it just straight up better than the opponent, but I don't feel like I used my raise well at all. I buy 3 mangoes, and this is like a very aggressive magical damage. I shouldn't call it magical damage, but mana-based build where I'm just trying to really harass him with raises. And I didn't really use any here, to be honest. I kind of just felt like I was straight up better at lasting than my opponent. But like this range creep, I should have raised it 100%. You can't like take that 50-50. Whatever though, you know, like I guess I felt like I would get it regardless. Shouldn't have done it though. Moving on here, I want you guys to notice that I'm always pushing in the wave on my opponents, right? I never really just static it. I don't like staticking it. I like making people play under a tower, even though I tank the tower here like an absolute fool. Because I was under the tower, I decided to go for some raises, right? Just make sure he gets off of me. And you're going to notice that he took a ton of damage to the range creeps there, right? And that's the power of pushing people under tower. If they try to overextend and punish you, they're just going to tank a full creep wave. Like, that's just how it works. That's just how it works. There's no arguing that. And that's essentially what happened there. I pressured him really hard. He probably got a bit flustered in that regard, and then started tanking a bunch of creeps, and he didn't even realize, and made him take a bunch of damage. So now at this point, I'm level 3, and really once you hit level 3, I really just start looking for raises, right? So he walks up here. I was on 80 ping for most of these games, because all of y'all are not from America. So I had to keep playing on, like, Luxembourg or, like, Peru, but that's besides the point. That's an excuse for not hitting raises or using raises properly. But really, just to point it out, I'm buying a lot of regen. I buy a wand because I think this is one of the better 1v1 items against SF. Just gives you that turn potential, that outplay potential, and some extra mana. But as you can see, I'm just always going for these long-range raises because then, if he approaches or makes a mistake by walking up, I'm immediately going to hit the second raise, and then the third raise might come off cooldown again, allowing me to potentially get the kill, right? And then that's all I need, right? That's all I would need to win this round. Alright, now let's skip ahead to the time where I actually kill him. So it's around 4 minutes and 20 seconds in, which is a dank time. And once again, I'm just standing on his high ground. I have the gold advantage. I have 25 CS, 11 denies. I'm crushing him in CS, which is why, guys, get good at CS. You notice how this happens a lot? It's a pattern. I don't even have to necessarily outskill my opponents in anything besides CS. Technically, there's a lot of little things that I'm doing here and there consistently to make this happen. But for the most part, it's just when I hit the creep, right? I hit the creeps at a good time, and it allows me to get more items. And because of these items, I can man up on him here, right? I have a big wand, I have a salve, I have a mango, and now I even miss a raise, a close range raise. Hashtag speed noob. But really, like, just these items and pushing the wave under his tower is making him so uncomfortable. And now I finally am able to just right click him to death as he tried to juke my raise. But what do you need to take out of this, right? As a player, what do you need to take out of this? You just have to be able to see, like, basic mechanics or specific fundamentals. The basic fundamentals are what allow you to win the mid lane, and you can crush your lanes, right? If I play in a 2k, 3k match, no matter what the matchup is, I'm pretty convinced, just because they'll get more items than them and push the wave under their tower, I'll kill them or beat them, and it almost doesn't matter what the heroes are. It literally just do the same thing for every single set of heroes. And now we're going to finish off this game with the long race. The long downtown ultimate. This is something that it used to be better because it would like just slow and no fear and it wouldn't push them away. So I was trying to like sort of push him into my river here so I could chase him down. I should have bought boots if I wanted this to work because frankly it kind of worked, right? Like it sort of worked here. I'm able to zone him out, which is pretty funny. But I definitely needed boots. I went for the triple bracer build and there's actually no way you lose if you go triple bracers. Like his races do no damage to me. and we're able to pick up the kill. And yeah, that's going to be the end of the second round. So once again, 33 and 14, even while applying pressure is the key to winning these mid lanes. Shove the wave, so you don't really have to focus on CS, and then when the wave is pushing in, you can focus on harass or even denies under tower. Alright, so next up here we have CUCA. This is a very odd 1v1 because we're super tanky, and just when you have two tanky heroes, it makes the 1v1s kind of weird because it takes a long time to kill each other. However, CUCA is a high damage hero. So right off the bat, I wanted to shove the wave once again. Believe it or not, guys, believe it or not. It does go under his tower though, which makes it essentially impossible for me to do this. So instead, I go for a lot of denies, right? It's kind of just some basic logic here. If the wave is under their tower, you often want to go for denies. It's kind of mid laning 101. Maybe not 101 because a lot of people don't do that or look at it like that, but think about it. So now here I actually mess up, and he should have gotten this range creep deny, and this is my issue with these players. Like, I don't think they're thinking about the creeps, right? I think these players are often looking at the heroes, like only the heroes. I'm more so thinking about the creeps. Like, I guess I'm doing both to some extent, but how does this range creep not get denied after I legendary sorted? I knew I'd put it into deny range, and I assumed I could get there in time, but I was completely wrong, and it shouldn't have gotten denied because of that. But it didn't, and that's like just a big hole for these players where I, for some reason, am now 5-2 and not had any creeps denied yet. That's just a major issue, right? It's can't be the case. Now here, because he's stepping up far, I'm going to go for a torrent. He does sidestep it, so well played by him, right? But whenever someone's retreating and they overextend on a creep wave that has none of their creeps, you should do that. You should go for that play. And now it's just kind of the same thing over and over again, guys. I would love to say that, oh, Dota is this complex game where I have to make the exact calculation to win the lane, and then once I do this and do that, then I will ultimately win because there's no chance he counterplays it. Like, it's not necessarily like that. It's the same thing as laning as a position 5. I recently did a video on this for the website, and I realized that the main thing that helps me be consistent and win my lanes is because I do the same thing over and over again correct, right? I'm not inventing the wheel or reinventing the wheel. That's what the saying is. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm doing what works over and over again. In the safe lane, that's pulling and harassing when I'm not pulling, right? It's like, that's basically how I look at the lane. Mid lane, right? How often have I lasted under tower? How often have I denied under tower? It's staggering how different it is. Here, he trades inside of my wave once again, which is not favorable for him. He just started auto-attacking me when there was a range creep and melee creep on top of him, so I'm naturally going to win that trade. And it's kind of just this cycle over and over again. Like, why do people lose to me, right? Why do they lose to me? Because they don't do these things themselves. They're not trying to push in my wave. For some reason, it's always under their tower. That shouldn't be the case. And now finally here, let's just look how I get the kill, right? So I hit him with the sword, I go for a torrent, nothing pretty crazy, right? But I never solo kill people from full. It's always like a slow chip. He actually had a fairy fire and should have used it. So a bit of a mistake from that player, but it's always a slow chip in the mid lane. You want to chip them down and chip them down and chip them down, right? Make them take creep damage, a little bit of damage, 20 damage, 30 damage, reset, 20 damage, 30 damage, reset, like over and over and over again. You put them into these awkward situations that players don't know how to deal with, and you kind of just slowly win the lane because of it. It's very interesting that this is how it works. And frankly, if a lot of you guys can master these same ideas, you'll get to this point too. Now at this point, I'm level 5, he's level 5, but I have a lot more bracers than him at this point. I think I actually have a full extra bracer, and as a result, I can just start trading really heavily. In addition, I just want to get to level 7, so you notice I'm just kind of shoving in the wave. He's juking out some torrents, no big deal, right? So over and over again, I'm just shoving in the wave, time after time, shoving in the wave, doing damage, trying to get to that level 7, because I know once I get to level 7, I will most likely be able to just reliably harass him out of lane, because CUCA's sword becomes an incredibly low cooldown, and very easy to deal with people. Here I actually got into a weird situation where I was in boat combo range and he had boat up, so I had to be a bit careful, right? I do have boots and fairy fire, so like I'm pretty sure he had no X, so I know I can dodge it, but as you're gonna see here, right? Immediately go for the sword, go for the torrent, he just juke it out, right? No big deal, but then BAM! We finish off the game with a nice little legendary sword, and yeah, that's the level 7 spike I was talking about there. It gives me a ton of kill potential onto the CUCA, we secure it up, and that's GG. Next up, we probably have the oddest 1v1 out of all of them. This is against a Immortal player, which I know for a fact, and it is a Witch Doctor versus Witch Doctor matchup. In fact, you'll notice this is the first time where I am level 1 and not level 2 before my opponent is. In fact, my wave is getting shoved into me, which is a big contrast, right? It just kind of goes to show how immediately once I go against someone who is a different level or a higher level, as I get that sick deny, the tides kind of change, right? I do punish him on the high ground a little bit here, right? But things change, right? Now my wave is getting pushed into me. I'm getting put under some heat. And I'm not saying that pushing the wave is always the correct play, right? I'm not some mid lane master. I don't know every little thing. I'm not a topson, right? I'm not. However, I can tell you that this is something that low MMR players just don't even think of. And the fact that you don't think of it is a massive disadvantage. Now, there's honestly not too much to say about this lane. What I will say is that it is actually a very, even though it seems low skill, because it's just like, oh, whoever gets the more bounces wins, and that's sort of true, and you'll see that later on. But it's a big game of trying to read the stun and looking for Maledicts. Maledicts is a very low range spell, so you're going to notice here, while I'm last hitting, I'm looking for him to step out of position. I find a good opportunity, very, very lucky bounce, and then with some good attack moving, I'm able to punish him extremely hard, right? And even get all the CS. So that's really what you're looking for in lanes like this. You're looking for the gap, because it's a very even lane, right? You notice how much damage he takes just because of the level 2 Maledict. And now we're doing some pretty CUCA denies under the tower. Now I'm just going to watch through until our major brawl that comes up in a bit. So obviously we're just 50-50ing some creeps, no big deal, just trying to last hit it at the right range. Witch Doctor's attack damage is actually insane. It's 81 damage right now with a couple of stats. So Witch Doctor's a legit mid. If you want to kill people mid, Witch Doctor is extremely good. It doesn't scale that well in my opinion, even though it has a damage talent, a very high one at that. I think it's 75 damage. It still kind of, it struggles to farm. It's hard to push waves. Your Q is a very long cooldown, so it's unreliable to use to shove waves. And you notice here, I'm just kind of pressuring him under tower, going for the Maledict. I do clip him with it, and my hope there was just to start getting harassing. Right, I'm close to level 6, I know this, and I assume, right, every little bit of HP coming into this level 6 fight could be the difference between winning the fight or not, so that's just all I'm thinking, right? Can I hit level 6 first? And yeah, I hit it here, and now I think I maybe should have just looked for a kill right away, but it's a bit hard, right? Because if he throws the cask at the right time, he can just cancel my death ward. It's pretty hard for me to actually chain stun him unless I find the perfect scenario. So he ends up hitting level 6. I couldn't find a gap there. And now it's really just a matter of who can find the better cask at the right time, or whoever gets a little bit lucky on the bounces. And as you can see here, I'm trying to mirror his positioning. I see him walk up pretty far here, and then yeah, I get a bounce and he doesn't. That was the only reason I won that. I got 2 bounces, he got 1. Yeah, baby. And now to finish off the clip, we'll look at our final play. So now I'm at quite a level advantage. I have really good stats here. I always buy a lot of stats. That's a big trend as well. A lot of players won't buy stats, especially in 1v1s. You just want to spam stats for the most part. And even in a real game, this applies. Like, I would have no problem doing this in a real game. And then here, I get a little bit of a lucky bounce, and he is absolutely dead to that Maledict. In fact, here, I actually thought there was a slight chance I would die to his Maledict, so I decided to go for the TP out. But he ticks out. Level 4 Maledict is almost impossible to deal with. If you take over half your damage from full with a Maledict on, you are basically guaranteed to die. In fact, quick little tip, guys, Maledict currently pierces spell immunity. Not only is it just the ability, right? Well, you can't necessarily cast it on someone who's BKB'd, but if you get it on them and then they BKB, they will still take the damage ever since the 7.23 patch, where every single spell that pierces spell immunity will do damage, right? It just does damage through the BKB, so it's quite potent against certain heroes. Make sure you get it down on BKB targets, and it will just crush them. Alright, and last but not least, we have a PL 1v1 coming up. Also, if you want to be in these 1v1s in the future, just kind of pay attention to the YouTube community tab, and I might do it again in a week or two, not really sure. Obviously, that's based on response, but thank you for watching throughout the video, and if you've enjoyed it so far, obviously, hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Regardless, getting into this last 1v1, it is a PL mirror, as I said, and the reason why this is important is you kind of have to build your build around the differences into the game, right? So I have some extra tangos queued up, right? I have some wraithbands queued up. In fact, later on here, I realized that I would probably want a buckler, because if I can just shove in the wave, I'll be able to eventually take his tower, which is helpful in these 1v1s, or I'll at least be able to trade effectively, as buckler is a good item for trading. Also moving on into that, this player, as I pause here, had an 18 streak with PL, gained 2 to 3k MMR with PL, and has a 73% win rate on the hero. A lot of it, according to him, right, according to him, from gameleap videos, which is awesome. I love to hear when you guys are just learning things from my videos and actually applying them. And that's what he told me he was doing, right? He was actually applying what I had to say in the PL videos. And that's key, guys. You can't just watch, gain information, like, actually, you have to apply stuff and listen to what I'm saying, and if you do it, I genuinely believe you'll gain MMR. Now, getting into the actual clip here, I decided to once again push in the wave to some extent. I sort of go for the deny, but as you saw, I hit the creep just as it met the wave. I Spirit Lance the range creep just to secure it, and then I'm instantly going to buy some regen. I decided to go for some mangoes here, just because I like the passive regen, and I decided to use a couple of Spirit Lances here and there for trading and CSing. Now, throughout the lane, the key to this matchup is, once again, as I shove the wave in, key to this matchup is really just to secure a lot of creeps in the denies in the early levels, and then hopefully looks for some good trades, either based on them going under your tower, or maybe they're caught out of position and you can hit them with the E when they're not paying attention. Things like this, as we'll sort of see throughout this laning stage, that allows me to win it. No, maybe I lose, guys. You actually have no idea whether or not I win or lose this matchup. You have no clue. I might lose. upcoming here is probably my best opportunity or my best situation where I was able to trade with him. He did have more XP than me, as I didn't get really too many denies. I think he had a couple as well, but he goes under my tower and then aggroes it, which is a bit of a mistake from him, obviously. He is a safe lane player, so it is easy to make that mistake as, you know, a non-mid lane player. Regardless, we're just getting all the less that's possible, nothing insane here. I ended up getting quite a large, just last-hit lead on this opponent, which I think was the main reason why I was able to win it overall, right? Other than him taking the tower there, which put him at quite a HP detriment, at least a little bit. I think a ton of it had to do with the fact that I was able to just get that extra buckler, that extra stat item. Also, upcoming here, I don't know why he does this, to be honest. This is a big mistake on his part. He sort of just walks into my creep wave a couple of times, and like, it's very easy for me to trade with you if you do this, right? So I Spirit Lance, I hit, and then all my creeps aggroed him, and he gets shredded, right? Like, that wasn't even slightly favorable. Also, I have the mango regen going because, you know, we got those mangoes. I have a mango addiction, as some of you may know. But yeah, we're kind of just spanking at this point, really winning the trade. I consider taking Spirit Lance there, but I thought that the Doppel would probably be pretty solid for being able to trade. So yeah, I decided to take it. Once again, now he's going very aggressive on me. I don't think that was necessarily a bad time, as I had 2 creeps on me. So it ended up being a relatively favorable trade for him. But he had to back off in the end. I knew I had a salve. I have the mangoes, the fairy fires. Obviously, there's basically no way he can kill me, or at least catch me off guard. PL doesn't have some weird outplay or stun or anything like that, so nothing too much to worry about. I know I can sort of play on the edge and even pop myself in vision as long as I know he has no lance. And now with this buckler timing, I can really start getting aggressive as my wave should shove and I should have quite a bit of armor. So now I hit level 6 before him, and I just decided that this is a good opportunity to try to get a little bit extra damage in, so I Phantom Rush onto him, get that extra agi, and then send my illusions to hit him quite a bit. No big deal, right? Just getting that extra damage. Still not overcommitting, just using the cooldown of the Phantom Rush to really pound him. I mean, it does so much damage, it's pretty hard for them to deal with if they're not paying attention and you're using it off cooldown. And now, I decided to go on him, right? He goes for a doppeljuke, but I could kind of tell which was the real one based on his juking. I'm trying to figure out why my brain told me that this was fake. I think I knew it was fake because he sort of went for the doppeljuke, right? Like, he took a whole second to start moving, and that put in my head the idea that he was doing something abnormal, because typically if a PL doesn't know what the doppeljuke is, which is where you control one of your illusions and not your main hero, they'll start moving instantly, and then you know, typically, unless they're really, really good at it, which you can get to the level of, right? Typically then you know it's the real one, but in this case he took a second, so I'm like, that's probably not real. It could be if he's like just next level, but ended up being the case where it was not real, and I was able to secure the first blood. And at this point now I'm level 7, I have a ton of stats, still got that regen going, and level 7 is a huge spike for PL. It just allows you to Phantom Rush every 4 seconds with 44 bonus agility, and yeah, I mean, this matchup ended up getting pretty weird. He makes a good play later on, so just kind of pay attention to really what happens to end off this matchup. But really, I go for his tower here, but he actually pressures me off. I should have bought a salve. I decided to buy full treads and not a salve, and he ends up pressuring me pretty hard here under the tower, right? Like, I get into a fairly awkward situation where he's pressuring me under this tower here, and he almost gets enough damage to almost take my tower. As you're going to see, I'm pushed under my tier 2, right? I am harassing him out a little bit, but he's cutting my wave. I buy a salve finally, but I end up making the mistake of not walking around the tree there, so he scouts me out. I pop myself on the high ground, then I use the doppel, and fortunately, I went to the high ground, didn't get much of myself canceled, and I was able to live. If I doppel to the low ground there and he canceled it, I think there's a chance he actually wins by getting the kill and then taking the tower. It was pretty close. And then just because I'm that guy, I decided to backdoor. I decided to backdoor his tower. Funny enough, he did actually have the backdoor protection, but fortunately for me, I had my doppel, so I doppeled off the Spirit Lance, secured the tower, and that's GG. But yeah, your boy Speed is still undefeated. Y'all can't beat me. Like, what's going on? How can y'all still not beat me? I don't know what's happening. Like, I'm just putting it out there. I have not been proven wrong yet. I'm backing up my word. I trash talk in my videos sometimes saying that I'll just crush you guys on CS, and so far so good. I've been doing it. I've been living up to my word. I need someone who's going to challenge me and take me down. I'll even let you pick the matchup. That's what I did for today. I let people pick the hero. I even said you could pick an unfavorable matchup if you want. Most people kept it fair, which I can respect, but right, it was a good time. I had a good time. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you learned quite a bit about 1v1s or just enjoyed today's video. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Are you tired of being hard stuck at your rank? Over at gameleap.com, we have a library of hundreds of guides authored by pro players and coaches covering literally every aspect of Dota. Whether you're looking to master a new hero or role, or just polish up your existing skills, GameLeap is the proven place for competitive gamers to hone their craft and unlock their secret potential. Hit the link on screen right now right now to take advantage of our special offer for a 25% discount, guys. 25%, and start your journey today.